It's Saturday, April 7th, 2018. And we're at a different perspective because my setup is a little disorganized right now. I have a few extra boxes in the living room that are kind of cluttering things up, so I decided to utilize them and make them into a base for this thing. So Saturday is the show I do called My Tens. Not necessarily top tens, just my tens. 10 things that I want to list off, not necessarily in any particular order. Now, sometimes I do top tens, do top tens every once in a while. Today is not one of those times. So, as you can see in the title, this is 10 rap albums you might not know exist. Now, in the 90s, late 80s and early 90s, actually all the way up until probably the late 90s, I bought tons of rap albums. Anything I could find, I would buy. In fact, the 10 that I have here isn't even the only 10 that people might not know about. If you do know about them, awesome, but probably a lot of people aren't going to know about too many of these. If you know about all of them, you're even more of a junkie than I was. And you might know of some stuff that even I've never heard of. But like I said, back in the day, I bought anything and everything. I would go to a place called Sound Warehouse, and I would take almost an entire paycheck and just buy cassettes. I mean, just buy them. Tons of them. And it's like, if it was a rap album I didn't have yet, I'll buy it. Now, I didn't buy everybody. There were some people that it's like, I don't care. It's like, you're not going to, I think Kwame or something like that. I wouldn't buy Kwame's album. So that's how much I didn't like Kwame, because I wouldn't buy his album. So we're going to start here. The 10th, let's just go at number 10, Rappin' Forte. And I'm going to show you the cassettes so that you guys can actually see. I own these things. This was Rappin' Forte. His album was called Don't Fight the Feeling. Excuse me. A lot of times I have to try to figure out, why did I buy these? Well, sometimes I just bought them on impulse because it was a rapper. Rappin' Forte actually he got his start on Too Short's album Life Is Too Short. Then he got busted on a drug conviction or a drug charge and served 10 months in prison. But there are two songs on here that are really good. Players Club, or it's probably pronounced Playas Club, and I'll Be Around. Both of the songs are really, really good, and I think that's the reason I bought this, was because those two songs were really, really good. So, people might know about Rappin' Forte if they knew about Life Is Too Short's album. But did you know that he had solo albums, and not just this one? He had other solo albums. I don't have all of his, but next one, number 9, Craig Mack. Craig Mack could have been big, but I guess his album was released at about the same time as Notorious B.I.G.'s album. His album Ready to Die. And they were both for Bad Boy Entertainment. This guy was on Bad Boy Entertainment. In fact, he has a remix of one of his songs called Flavor in Your Ear. Flavor in Your Ear. And the remix had the Notorious B.I.G., Busta Rhymes, LL Cool J, and Rampage. The one main song on here is Flavor in Your Ear. That's the one main song that he was probably known for. Unfortunately, he passed away actually this year, March 12th of 2018. He passed away. I think he was 47, or I think he was 47 years old. So rest in peace, brother. But I guess towards the end of his life, he actually became big into religion. I guess a lot of his later videos, if you find them on the internet or on YouTube, or him in church. So hopefully he was at peace when he had made his peace before he passed on. But it's sad to think he could have been bigger than that. He was actually even mentioned, if you go to the lyrics of Notorious B.I.G.'s one of his songs, he says he's got more Mac than Craig or something like that. So he mentions him in there. They knew each other. This is Success in Effect, Back in Effect. Now, this isn't their biggest album. They had another album before this was bigger. This was an album that they released in 1991. They were one of the earlier politically charged hip hop groups. Their style is kind of a mix of Sugar Hill Gang, Eric B. and Rakim, and A Tribe Called Quest. That's the best way I can describe their music. None of the songs on here were really big hits, and I tried listening to some of these again. None of them were very good. I bought it because it was there, and I didn't have it yet. Number 7, Rodney O and Joe Cooley. F New York. They were from California. Kind of explains why they didn't like New York. I guess they recorded this entire album in about a month, and they did it all on their own. Rodney, their main hit was called You Don't Hear Me Though. And they released this back in 93. It's a really good song. It really is. If you can find that song or download it, it's a really good song. But that's the reason I bought this. I know why I bought this album. It was for that song. It was a really good song. Now we're going to get into number 6. The D.O.C's Helter Skelter. Not his big album. This was his follow-up album after he got into his car crash in 1989. Did he get into his car crash? He got into a huge car wreck that almost killed him, and it crushed his larynx, which changed his voice. I loved his first album. He was a collaborator with Eazy-E and Dr. Dre and NWA and those guys. He had a great voice. One of my favorite songs of his is called Bridget. Love the song Bridget. It's hilarious. He's not known for that song, but it's one of those songs that is absolutely hilarious. This album, unfortunately, with his voice change, it doesn't quite have the same... It's not as easy to listen to, you know, and I feel bad for the guy because he had a great voice. He's very talented. He wrote a lot of the songs for some of those bigger rappers, and he could have been every bit as big, but unfortunately the car accident kind of took a lot of that away. He is actually making a 4th album right now. He is in the process of it. So, I mean, good on him. He's still doing it, and, you know, but yeah, this was the album that he released after the car wreck, so I bought it just on the fact I saw the D.O.C. and I loved his music. I wasn't aware of the voice change. I knew about the car wreck, but not the voice change. So I never bought Deuces, which was the album after this, which came out like another 6 years later. Now this one you might know about because I mentioned that Black Sheep made a second album. Black Sheep made this album. Now they're known for their one major hit song, which was The Choice Is Yours, which I recently did a song dissection on. This album is not as good as the previous album, but I bought it because I loved the previous album. This one was a lot of times follow-up albums aren't as good as debut albums. This is the case with this one. Eric Sermon. Quick. What group was he in? EPMD. Eric Sermon was in EPMD. That's the reason I bought this. All I needed to do was see that it was Eric Sermon's new album, went out, bought it, listened to it once, never listened to it again. So you may not know Eric Sermon did a solo album. EPMD was really, really good in the late 80s. They were really, late 80s, maybe early 90s, but they were really good. And then, of course, they went their separate ways, and Eric Sermon he released his own album. I'm not sure if the other guy did, but I know Eric Sermon did. Number 3 and number 2 we're going to put together because I bet you didn't know this guy had albums. I bet you didn't know. Name all the people from NWA. You got Eazy-E, you got Ice Cube, you got Dr. Dre, you had DJ Yella, and then who was the other one? Who was he? Come on, before I show you this. MC Ren. He released 2 albums that I have. He might have more, but I bought these 2. So, yeah. Oh, one of them's upside down. Both of them are upside down. Let's show them to you again so you can read them better. Right there. Boom. MC Ren. Oh, I hate when the glare gets on him. This is so ghetto. But MC Ren. Let's cover up. Well, that's not even a bad word because AZZ is not a word. In fact, I work with a guy who's got the name AZ. His name is Az. So this is his name just a little bit longer, but it's It's not a bad word because it's not really a word. So, um, shock of the hour and kiss my. We won't say it. You saw it on the thing. Um, it even has to say up here, MC Ren of NWA. It has to say that so that you remember who MC Ren was. He was in MC. Hey, yo, Ren. So yeah, uh, they didn't put it on here. Obviously, they figured we knew at that point, or they just gave up on the fact he hasn't been in NWA in forever, and you don't remember him. You didn't remember him here. We had to tell you, so you're not gonna remember him here. Like no songs on these are good. No songs on these are good. But I bought them because I loved NWA. I even have an album of DJ Yellis. So yeah, I bought everybody's solo albums from that group, including the D.O.C., which just collaborated with them. Easy E, I got his solo stuff. Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, of course, a lot of Snoop Dogg stuff, but he was more with Dr. Dre than NWA. He wasn't really working with them. Now, this one we're going to investigate a little bit. This is called "We're All in the Same Gang." There was a song by the West Coast rappers, West Coast rapper All Stars, that was called "We're All in the Same Gang." There was a song by the East Coast rappers that was called "Self Destruction." Basically, it was about gang members killing each other and trying to get everybody, and kind of the whole hatred between East and West. Rodney O and Joe Cooley were from California. They did an album called F New York. So, I mean, you could see for some reason, there was a lot of tension between the two coastlines when it came to rap for some reason. I never understood it. Rap to me was just rap. I never really cared if you were East Coast or West Coast. That's because I was smack dab in the middle in Colorado. But this album had a lot of big stars in it. I mean, or a lot of big stars were on that song. But the fact of the matter was, for all the big stars that were in the song, because I remember like Eazy-E was in this. Yeah, I mean, you had Ice-T, MC Hammer, Eazy-E. You had, oh boy, some of these are so small and my eyes are so bad. Is that JJ Fad? No, that's Oaktown 357. It looks like MC Light. Wow, my eyes are the worst. Sorry, I'm gonna have to bring in some light to this party here because I can't read any of this, or I can't see this very well. This is so professional. But it's really small. NWA was in this. Above the Law was in this. I know Eazy-E got back into this because he kind of was trying to make peace with everybody. Oh, JJ Fad was in this. Digital Underground was in this. Rex, or who is that? If I could stop moving the thing long enough to see it. Okay, not important. But, so when I bought this album, I thought I was going to get a lot of good songs from a lot of these people. I thought I was going to get a lot of, just ones, just songs from these guys. No. That's not who you get. You get songs from groups like New World Mafia, Juvenile Committee, Sola, Latin Kings, Sugar Spice and Everything Nice, MC Superb, and DJ Pressure, South Central Posse, not even the South Central Cartel, MC KRZ. Oh, and then this superstar, MC Supreme Disappointment. I thought I was going to get songs from, the other guys, NWA, new singles from NWA and Eazy-E and Young MC and Ice-T, who's my favorite rapper of all time. And I thought I was going to get stuff from those guys. Instead, it's a bunch of just noobs. So the album is disappointing. I bought the album mainly for the song "We're All in the Same Gang." But the rest of the album is a very big disappointment because a lot of those other guys, the songs aren't very good. So, how many of those albums have you heard of? Have you heard of any of them? Have you heard of all of them? Are there ones that you can show me that I've never heard of that are from the late 80s to mid 90s? I doubt it. But I'm sure you can because I don't know everything. You can look at me and understand that. So, with all that being said, to the troops, past, present, and future, thanks for the freedom.